Last class we studied the organs of speech, and we distinguished between active articulators and passive articulators. Active articulators are those which are capable of movement. For example, the tongue, which is very movable, the soft palate or velum, and the lips. And the passive articulators are those which can't move. For example, the teeth, the alveolar ridge, and the hard palate. Now, why are we studying all this? Because we need this information in order to classify speech sounds. Let's concentrate on consonants. From the phonetic point of view, we say that consonants are easy to describe in terms of articulation because you can feel the contacts and movements involved in their articulation. And this is so because there is some sort of obstruction, impediment, interference to the passage of the airstream. That is to say, there's a stricture, constriction, which may be a complete closure, a partial closure, or a narrowing of the air passage. Let's have a look at the following animation designed by the University of Glasgow.
A pear.
Okay, here the person is producing the sound p, p, p. As you can see, again,
A pear.
the two lips are the primary articulators. In this case, the two lips are active articulators and they come into contact. So, in the articulation of this consonant sound, we can easily perceive the contact between our lips. Now, let's have a look at this. What can we see here? This is the same animation but frozen. In the production of p, we can see that the two lips are the primary articulators. And then, let's pay attention to the soft palate or velum. Last class we said that the soft palate or velum is an active articulator because it can move. It can be lowered and it can be raised. In this case, what's happened to the soft palate? It has been, let's see, what happens here? It's been raised. If it had been lowered, it would be down here. It's been raised. Why? Unconsciously, when you produce the sound p, there is closure, complete closure at the lips, so the air resonates in the mouth, and then when you open your lips, the air goes out with explosion. But for the air to resonate in the mouth, the passage to the nose has to be blocked. So that's why the soft palate, in this particular case, has been raised, blocking the entrance to the nose. So we say, for example, that p is bilabial because the two lips are the primary articulators, and it's oral because the air resonates in the oral cavity or in the mouth. Phonologically speaking, remember we said that phonology moves a step forward towards language and analyzes how sounds function in a particular language. From the phonological point of view, consonants are the marginal elements in the syllable. What does that mean? In the syllable, the most sonorous elements are vowels or diphthongs. They are very sonorous. Consonants are not so sonorous, so they are not the central elements. They are not the nuclear elements. They are the marginal elements. So, if we analyze the word bed, for example, b, b, b. The consonant sound b is is marginal. It's a consonant sound. And t is another consonant sound, and it's marginal too. While the vowel sound a is syllabic, the syllabic nucleus of the syllable. It's the nucleus. It's the most prominent or sonorous of all the sounds here. So we say that b, which is a consonant sound, is the onset of the syllable. A is the nucleus because it's the most prominent or sonorous, and t is the coda of the syllable because it follows the nucleus. So the onset precedes the nucleus and the coda follows the nucleus. And the vowel sounds, by vowels I mean pure vowels or diphthongs, constitute the peak of prominence of the syllable, and they are bounded on either side by less prominent sounds, consonants. All right. What happens when we produce vowel sounds? Let's think of vowel sounds in Spanish. A, E, I, O, U. Okay, try and produce them, please. When you articulate these sounds, you can't feel any contact between your tongue and any articulator. Can you? No, you can't. Why? Because a vowel sound is the opposite of a consonant sound. It's made with no obstruction in the vocal tract to the air as it passes through. So there's no interruption or obstruction to the airflow. For example, if you say ah, as in car, the air flows out through your mouth without any obstruction. So vowels are not easy to describe in terms of articulation because the air goes out unimpeded centrally over the tongue without any contact of the articulators. We say that they are produced by a stricture of open approximation. So they are generally learned by listening and imitation. That's why we insist on the fact that you have to listen and repeat, listen and repeat. And phonologically speaking, we just said that vowels are the most sonorous in the syllable. So they are the nucleus of the syllable. That is to say, they are syllabic. Now, although the tongue and lips assume different positions in the articulation of vowels, a relatively simple system has been developed to describe vowels, and it's a vowel diagram from the chart of the International Phonetic Alphabet. This diagram stands for the area in the mouth in which vowel sounds are produced by the changing shape of the tongue. Of course, this diagram is imaginary. So we have to imagine that inside our mouth, our tongue, this is your tongue, will move up and down, backwards and forwards to produce the different vowels without making any contact with any articulator. So, to represent this space, phoneticians have come up with this quadrilateral, which is an imaginary space within the mouth, and we're going to use this quadrilateral in order to identify the place where the different vowels are articulated.